Malakuta is a sleepy beach town close to the border of Victoria and New South Wales. On New Year's Eve, it made international headlines when thousands of tourists and residents were forced to cower on the beach.
And we've got family down near the boats ready to go in case this fire does get in closer and hot embers start to fall.
Pitch black, there's embers falling from the sky. As you can see, you can't really see anything. It's really scary.
After weeks of being cut off, the roads into town have since reopened, but the ongoing impact to residents and businesses is immense. Even the local abalone industry wasn't immune to these fires.
Normally I'd be up early in the morning, I'd go down, check the ocean, and then decide whether it's flat enough and nice enough conditions to go out in the ocean and catch abalone or sea urchins.
The Malakuta abalone processing factory burned down in the fires. It's left the $14 million local industry reeling.
The co-op itself financially isn't too bad. Its major ones are the employees that have lost. The casual employees have lost quite a fair bit of work at the moment. So until we can get the makeshift factory up and going as quickly as possible, we can start giving them work again, which is our main goal at the moment.
Cam Armstrong has deep concerns for the town's future.
Tourism is Malakuta. The abalone is what keeps the locals here. Tourism, the lake system that we've got here, is what brings people here, and that's what helps keep the local businesses going more than anything. Quite a lot of people will be struggling.
What's become increasingly clear is that businesses didn't need to catch a light to be affected by these fires. We spoke to a number of shop owners and managers here on the main street of Malakuta and asked them to estimate their losses for just the month of January, which is peak season in a town so heavily reliant on tourism.
We lost pretty much all of January, generally our busiest month of the year with the tourism, our holiday makers. All that trade was gone.
The Victorian fires didn't even reach Marlow, but Dave and Naomi Ballinger's cafe and tackle shop has still been pushed to the brink.
If we had been burned to the ground, I've got insurance cover. And I've got 18 months of loss of income in that cover. So much as I wouldn't like to see my little business be burnt to the ground, but it currently would be better off if we were.
Thank you very much.
The business has lost an estimated $120,000 since December. That's roughly a quarter of their annual income. The Ballingers are considering selling.
Is there any government grants or government money available for businesses like yours?
Not at the moment. There's a whole lot of hype there back a while ago with Scott Morrison's announcement about the low interest rate loans and grants for businesses affected by the bushfires. We didn't realise at the time a lot of this funding available was to be offered to people that have actually been fully affected, i.e. burnt out. There's no real support for us. Yeah.
The federal government yesterday announced changes that may now allow the Ballingers to access some bushfire relief funds. They haven't seen any money yet.
Loss of business is a real impact, and we need to understand that there's business hardship here as well. So I'm sure Dave probably needs cash to help him get through some of those immediate challenges of supplier bills or just pay his employees and pay his normal overheads, his utilities. That's where we need to focus our energy now and work out how do we help the Daves of this world.
Exclusive data provided to 7:30 estimates the overall cost of these bushfires to the Australian economy has now reached $4.1 billion. It's believed that roughly a quarter of all Australian businesses have been affected by these bushfires in some way. Many have also been hit by coronavirus.
We rolled out a small business package just on a month ago now, but we can see immediately that it's not getting the traction that we think it needs to. It's not getting the cut through with the community. It's not helping enough small business.
The reality is we're waiting to see really What sort of problems are going to emerge in our volunteer firefighters after what happened over recent months?
The human cost of fighting these bushfires can't be underestimated.
We did research after Black Saturday, there was research done after Ash Wednesday. But what's happened this summer is unprecedented. We've had volunteer firefighters have to go to incident day after day for months on end.
What's the impact of that?
Psychiatrist Samuel Harvey is working with the New South Wales Rural Fire Service to assess and help with mental trauma.
When we focused in on the crews that had been out to serious fires, then it was more like 15% of those volunteer firefighters had symptoms suggestive of PTSD.
Just seeing the extent of the devastation of the countryside, of people's homes and property.
The worst thing to happen to me this fire season was to have lost fellow volunteers. That was devastating to feel such a loss, next to the loss of the community, of course.
Seeing that devastation, people who had lost their homes, their livelihoods, it was horrible to see that and going, how can we help? Are we going to be able to help? And what can we do?
I don't even know whether people are aware of what's about to be, thrust upon them, because it's a long process.
With so many people around Australia now facing the daunting prospect of rebuilding their homes, survivors of past fires are hoping lessons have been learned.
I think, there's a lot of confusion, and there doesn't seem to be, to me, there doesn't seem to be enough people, to help you through that confusion.
Michelle and Chris Carter lost their house in the 2018 Tathra bushfires. 2 years later, the couple and their sons are still living in caravans on their block.
It's a hard thing. It's something that will never leave you. It's something that, we live that every day.
Everybody goes back to their normal lives, which is fair enough, but yours hasn't and still isn't, and we're 2 years down the track.
Shotgun the big bowl.
The couple says they struggled to get what they felt was a fair bushfire attack level or BAL rating after the fire. That's the rating that ultimately influences the cost of the rebuild and insurance premiums.
It took us 14 months. So we lost our home on the 18th of March, and it wasn't until the 11th of May did we get an official certificate of BAL 29 from the RFS.
The Carters hope the process is streamlined for those recently affected and the cost of insuring and rebuilding is made clearer before purchasing property.
It takes time for people to rebuild. Sometimes it takes time because they want to get themselves in the right space to decide to rebuild and what they want to rebuild. Sometimes it's because the process is overwhelming. Giving fee relief in terms of development applications, that should help speed the process up. Finding ways that we can get the right manpower into the right areas.
That's probably when we had to carry the washing machine.
Back in the tiny Victorian town of Malakuta, there are signs of hope.
Well, we're having a bit of a wake because we've been here, lived in Malakuta since 1967, which is 52 years, I guess. And I was a carpenter by trade, and I built my own home, and it took 7 years from the day I started till the day I finished, and it took about half a day for it to disappear.
Retired abalone fisherman John Black and his family are celebrating their memories and starting to look to the future.
When it's all cleaned up, we'll come back. I don't think I could stand around town watching it getting all cleaned up. I think I might cry then, We said, you read it on TV or see it on TV, a lot of people say, oh, they're all in trauma, they're right up. We're not in trauma, we just got to keep going and being resilient, I suppose. A few people in town won't build their houses. They said, oh, no, we're not going to do this or I'm not going to do that. But we're both turned 80 and we're probably lucky we get another 20 years, but we're going to build another house and keep going. So I think that's resilient,
Will there be a few more beers here in the future?
I'd bet money on that.
Happy New Year.
Tell us again about the vacuum cleaner.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.